Welcome to the Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast.
where we talk all about Turner syndrome.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Andrea.
Now let's hop
into today's episode.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast. My name is Brooke.
And I'm Andrea. Hello.
And we have a special guest this week, Clare.
Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, Brooke.
Welcome,
Andrea.
Clare.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for having me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk with you guys today about, all the exciting projects I've got coming out.
We're so excited.
We are.
I'll let you give yourself an intro
Mhm.
and
Yes.
then we can talk about your book that me and Andrew had the post for, and we're very excited.
Yes. Oh my gosh, perfect. So, a little bit about me. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Um, let's see here. A fun I had to give a fun fact recently, but it was the fact that I've written 2 children's books or 3 recently. That was my fun fact the last time I was asked, but I don't know. A fun fact, maybe that I
That's a
I
good
don't
one.
know. Just off the top of my head. But yes, yeah, so that's a little bit about me. And then yes, I've on a typical day off, I love dancing with my friends, go having fun, taking my dog Penny for a walk, traveling, all that fun.
That's awesome. What's your favorite place you've traveled to?
Ooh, I would have to say I'm gonna have to say Japan because yes,
Ooh.
my childhood best friend is half Japanese, and me and our other childhood best friend, we went this past fall for her 30th birthday, and
Oh,
it
how
was magical.
fun.
So, yes.
Where in Japan did you get to go?
Tokyo, just Tokyo and Kyoto, but
Oh,
it was amazing. So, oh my gosh, I definitely have to say, yes, Japan, hands down. It was so special.
That
Oh my
sounds
gosh.
amazing.
Yes, 20
I bet
years
that was.
in the making.
That's
But
awesome. Are you fluent in Spanish?
I would say like working proficiency. So like I would say a step under, if
Okay.
that makes yes.
I'm
So
working
like
up to being fluent in it. I have enough to be
nice.
I have enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. We could do.
Where like if I start using it, somebody that doesn't speak English at work, I run into the scenario where somebody doesn't speak English, and so I can tell they're kind of struggling, and so I'll like, oh well, I can try to use what I know, the
Yeah. Oh my
some
gosh,
that I
same.
know, and then they'll start
Yeah.
going, oh, da, 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 da," and I'm like, I'm not that good.
Exactly. Yeah. Same. Oh my gosh, I love it. We can do
I'm not that good.
might make a translated version later.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Same. That's
yeah.
amazing. You guys created.
So tell us your Turner syndrome story.
Oh my gosh, sure. Well, I was diagnosed when I was 10. I remember my parents kind of took me to a nicer brunch place. And I was like, okay, like, what's going on? This is a little out of the norm. And yeah, they told me that the doctors thought I had TS and that it was pretty probable and that I was about to go get this blood test. And my siblings are giants. They're so that's kind of so the doctors were like, you're not growing as fast as your siblings. What's going on at that time? And so at the biggest point of fear, I would say for me at my time was I was so afraid. And so
Mhm.
I was like, okay. I remember that was the thing that stopped me in my tracks of like, oh gosh, like, what does this mean? Having to have growth hormone every day. But yeah, from there I was diagnosed with classic Turner's. And that's how it started, and here we are, oh my gosh, like 20 years later, like, which is crazy. With and so what I w and this is something maybe we can get into it as we go today, but I would definitely say different, like, difficulties within the diagnosis have kind of shown themselves, like, as I've grown up, gotten older, where different things have been harder at different times and vice versa, and so, yeah, that's a little bit about when I got diagnosed story, so, yeah.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you for
glad
sharing.
it wasn't just me with the needles because
Yeah.
I was petrified,
Mhm.
and I was diagnosed at 3,
Mhm.
and I started growth hormone when I was 7, and I was so afraid of the needles,
Mhm.
and to the point where I had to have my stepdad, or my adopted dad at the time, really, he was the one that started to give me my growth hormone, and
Mm.
then one day he gave me my shot and it was full of air. He forgot to put the medicine in it and gave me a shot full of air, and that was the last time he ever gave me a shot. My mom from then on was like, "You're not allowed to give her any injections."
Oh my
And
god.
so my mom took over. Like my mom would do it from time to time, but after that, she was like, "You're done with that. No, no, you're no more injections for you." And so
Oh my gosh.
that did not help,
That's so
my mom would give it to me, and, then I got off the growth hormone, I was 17, but up until that time, like, I could take the shots, like, I got used to her giving me
yeah,
shots, but I could never give them to myself,
yeah.
now I'm,
Okay.
diabetic, and I have to take 2 insulins, so I'm like, I can't get away from needles,
Mm. Oh my gosh.
so
Wow. That's funny you
but
mentioned that it was a
mhm,
shot full of air because when I found out that I was gonna have to take a growth hormone shot every day, I said, "Oh, I will find a way to I will find a way to get my growth hormone without a needle." So, like,
mhm,
it's probably honestly not on the market anymore, but there was this mechanism that they had at the time. It was like the mid 2000s where it delivered the growth hormone through like this is gonna sound so crazy because it was, but like through almost like a puncture. Like, so there was like some air, like it was like air at first, but then like that's how the medicine was delivered. So it wasn't through a needle,
Like,
which
it made the hole first?
yeah, which is arguably 10 times worse.
Oh,
But
wow.
I
yes.
was I was
I heard about that, and, I think that was, like, prior to sort of the idea of, like, a auto pen,
Mhm.
and that was sort of like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
intent, of what, like, the auto pen would do.
Right, I would imagine it's similar to some of the diabetic treatment methods
Mhm.
that are out there, however, it sounded so gnarly, and I remember I went to
But
church
it's
and some
painful.
girls were like,
Yeah.
"Isn't that like 10 times worse?" And I was just like, "It's not a needle, so I'm good." I always I think that's so funny now at 30, I would ask my, like, 10, 11-year-old self, like, "Why? Like, why are you doing it's so much worse?" And I would probably answer like, It's not a needle, I'm chilling, like, it's all good." But that's so
Yeah.
funny. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that is so funny that
it is painful, but yeah,
yeah.
the insulin my insulin pens are
Mhm.
easy peasy, like, they really are,
Mhm.
So you just use
so
the auto pen?
yes, uh, I have their auto, and it's like a really small, fine needle, and it just goes under the skin, so it doesn't
Mhm.
have to go very deep. So, yeah, it's
Kind of like that, huh?
fairly easy. I've gotten my technique down. At
Nice.
first, there's a few times where I'm, like, trying to give it to myself and, like, it would bubble a little bit,
Mhm.
and it was kinda painful, but I have my technique down now, so I can do it pretty much one-handed, you know? So, yeah, but it's easy, but I find it kind of funny that I just can't seem to get away from needles. I'm like
Too bad. Oh my gosh. Mm.
will be my life. But that's all good. But yeah, it's easy peasy. But yeah.
I hate needles. I have good veins,
Mhm.
so
Me too.
I don't
I've got a lucky one right here. They're
the
like,
people that have trouble getting my blood are usually new because, like, any experienced person is gonna be easily able to
yeah,
find my veins, but
yeah.
I don't like it.
Mm,
No, me
I'm
either.
just glad
I
it's never been a
always look
problem
away.
finding my veins, yeah.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not
I
good.
don't know about you ladies, but yeah, I always have to look away. If they're
Oh,
having
ditto.
to do like labs or
Yeah.
whatever,
Ditto.
I'm just like, okay, I'll give you my arm. But yeah,
Yeah.
my veins, if I have like what Brooke said, somebody that's not like necessarily new, um, it's pretty easy. So
Mhm,
because my veins just kind of like show themselves and I'm like, hey, right here.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't even I mean, they use it, but, like, you can find mine without even needing the strap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So,
Good.
the process is fine, but I'm sitting there the whole time going, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet?
Like
I've
how much longer?
Is it over?" And the
yeah.
one time it was horrible. I was doing all of this testing. They took, like, 12 vials of blood.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, it was in my arm for, like, 4 minutes straight. I'm like, "Are we done yet?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So
As a kid, I was so silly. So, okay, so when I was um in elementary school, especially when I moved to Canada, because I was in a pretty new environment. So I was kind of trying to share a little bit. So because I was picked on quite a bit. So I was trying to share in hopes that some of the kids would kind of understand me a little bit
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did sort of like a story book kind of thing called Turner Syndrome and Me. And
Mm.
so I tried to document and talk about the different things that I did when I go to Texas because I got treated in Houston.
Mhm.
Um, and I would go to Texas for my treatments. And so I would share different pictures. And so I
Mhm.
had a picture of me getting they would take 7 vials of tube or 7 vials of blood. And I literally that was probably the worst part for me. I always dreaded that part.
Yeah.
Everything else was like fairly easy, but I when I knew that that was coming, I would start like just like being
Yeah.
so silly and I would start like crying and getting upset and
Mhm.
I would start holding my breath. I had this thing like when I was a kid, I would hold my breath
That
and I'm just
yeah.
kind of like and my face
Yeah.
would turn red, and I have a picture of my face, like, beet red, and, like, I'm
Yeah.
kinda, like, getting ready to cry, and I just
Yeah.
I mean, you would have thought I was being tortured, but
No.
I was
Yeah.
I was the same when I was little, but it wasn't even for needles. It was for almost anything. The
Mm.
pediatrician would be trying to check my ears, and I
Mm.
hated him looking in my ears for whatever reason. I don't think it hurt. I mean, my ears are tiny, but I don't think it hurt. But I just didn't like it, and I would freak out and start crying. The
Yeah.
poor pediatrician, he was amazing,
Mm.
but he had me and my 3 brothers all in the room. My older
Mhm.
brother decided that he wasn't gonna let him touch him because "I saw what you did to my sister." And the doctor goes,
Oh my
"She started
gosh.
crying before I even touched her."
Oh, you know,
It
and
was funny.
I definitely think there has to be something said for the fact that there's gotta be something that sticks with us
mm,
as LTS gals with the medical trauma where
There's
even if
so
it's
much that happens that you just aren't able to
yeah,
fully understand because of how young you are when it happens.
yeah,
exactly. There's so much, and
yeah,
even if technically nothing's you, I think just even the uncomfortability of being poked and prodded can make it
Yeah.
feel from that sensory place where you're already coming in at a level 10. That's so fair. That's so
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Yeah, like, Andrea, I relate so much to when you went in and were, like, talking to your class about right, this is what is going on with me, and right, where I was kind of, I feel like, trying to grasp it myself at the time, and yeah, I'm lucky to say, like, growing up, was super happy-go-lucky and had a good group of friends, and that while it's interesting at the same time that I knew in the background, behind the scenes, there's something that, like, maybe set me apart from, like, the wider group of kids, and so it was kind of weird where both were kind of existing at the same time, and so, yeah, it's a lot to navigate as a kid or
Mhm.
first diagnosed, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would, so when I was a kid,
Mhm.
I so my mom, she she'd been married 4 times, divorced 3.
Mm.
And, um,
Over here.
so,
Yeah.
there is that, and my mom, when my mom, when she first remarried after she had divorced my biological dad, he adopted me legally
Mm.
and became my legal father. And so during the time that I was starting to get treated, they wound up a few years after that, um, getting divorced. So we moved back from Texas to Kansas, and my mom got then remarried. He was a Canadian, and we wound up moving to Canada in my 4th grade year. Now, generally speaking, even though there was divorce in my picture, I had a pretty good childhood, mostly. In Houston, I had pretty good experiences. I had good friends. Like, it was a whole block of kids my age and everything. So, I was out all the time hanging out with my friends and stuff. And, other than my periodic visits and the shots, which I got adjusted to, after that, it wasn't too bad. But after 4th grade and I moved to Canada, that's when it really kind of started to be a lot more of a challenge where I was getting bullied. I didn't have a lot of health issues, but I was getting bullied because I was so short.
Mm.
Mm.
And because I'm only 4'7", so
Mm.
I was a small kid. And so I was picked on quite a bit. And that started towards the end of my 4th grade year. And so not only I have a new family and did I had to move when my mom remarried to we were still in the Kansas City kind of area,
Mhm.
but there's a smaller town where KU is and it's called Lawrence.
Mhm.
And so we moved to Lawrence 8 months after my mom married and I started a new school. And then we're moving to Canada and I had to start a new school towards the end of my 4th grade year. So it was a whole lot. And then I started getting picked on and started junior high. I think they do it different. I started junior high when I was in 6th grade out
Mm.
there.
Mm.
And so my mom was trying to help me in how to stand up for myself and kind of find my voice
Yeah.
and understand sort of the differences and help me communicate with kids some of the
Yeah.
differences.
Yeah.
And it actually helped in a lot of regard a little bit,
Mhm.
um, especially when my mom came in and gave me one of my shots in front of the class, so they could see, what that was like
Mhm.
and just be like, this is what she goes through on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Um, and they were a lot more like, "Oh, you go through that."
Yes.
So, it was a little bit better, but,
Yeah.
um, it's
Yeah.
such a, like, difficult time to kinda navigate and figure things
Yeah.
out, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh, and I think too, when it comes to points of, oh my gosh, disclosing to new groups of people in your life, and I know this is something we'll get into as we go, but it can be such a question of, okay, how do I it can almost feel like you're brought to that place, and sometimes it feels like, oh, like a like we're sometimes it feels like it's like, right, the last thing you wanted to have to do, and sometimes it feels like it's unfortunate in a lot of cases, like when there's bullying, for example, right? Or a lot of times you can be brought to that place of disclosure if you feel like people don't get me to such a degree that I have to disclose this thing where then it's like, oh, like, and it's
Mhm.
thought process of, "Oh, how do I do it? What part in what context? How to what size group?" All of that, and so
Yeah.
I feel like I experienced that a little bit in college, actually, because I had never lived anywhere else until my freshman year of college, and I had my pretty steady friend group from what literally when I was diagnosed to my right, and so I think now, even just talking about it, I think I because they were the same friends that I had from when I was diagnosed, now that I think about it, I do think that was a lot of what made it a significant shift for me, right? And so, yeah, I remember feeling like, ah, and then in my at my school, we had in our freshman year dorm, we had what's called clusters where it would be like 3 or it'd be like 6 or 7 rooms to 1 living space, right? So that means you've got
Oh,
like
wow.
15 or so girls
Yeah.
into like 1 living space, which like chaos is gonna ensue, like
Yeah.
right, like, no, they all I think everyone was just in a fight or flight anxious place, like, I don't think anyone meant any harm or anything. Like, of course, looking back and of course, like, I just that's an example I can think of a time when maybe it felt like I was being a little misunderstood or people weren't really understanding why I was the way I was, and I remember pretty early on being like, "Okay, at, like, this meeting, I feel like I need to do, like, a PowerPoint on, like, on this big thing about me," right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, or, like, with certain supervisors, I've been yeah,
Yeah,
just
I think and that
mhm.
definitely leads into what we'll talk about
Yeah.
because that I mean, I didn't actually tell other people I had Turner syndrome until until I shared it on the internet.
Oh!
And that's when I started telling people around me more freely. When I
Mhm,
was younger, I really didn't tell anybody. I didn't
mhm,
tell anybody at school. I don't even know if the school knew
mhm,
because it had not like there was my mom was really careful. She was always on guard for others being able to misunderstand and use it against me in some way. Like
mhm,
either judge what I could or couldn't do because of it
mhm.
or other kids cuz kids can be mean.
Yeah.
Other kids not understanding and being mean about something they just don't understand. And
Mhm,
she really tried to guard me from that happening,
mhm.
and so I just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah,
And it wasn't until I became an adult and I wanted to document fertility testing that
wow.
I started talking about it, and it opened up this whole world to me.
Yeah.
And but even in that, it was kind of like, well, what do I want to share of that now? I feel like I'm just an open book. Like everybody kind of knows everything now.
Yeah! Oh my
But
gosh, yeah. So
it's it's the same any new person you're kind of running
right,
into. How do I even explain what Turner syndrome is to them? How much
right,
is too much at first?
right.
And at what point in the relationship do I explain like no matter
Yeah,
who it is, whether it's kids at school, a new friend, a romantic partner, like at
yeah,
what point within this is it the non-awkward point to bring this up? And
yeah,
what point is too far past? And I probably should have already disclosed this before we went this deep.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I would love to hear where you had the idea for your book, and I would love to hear
Yes!
all about your book.
Yes! Oh my gosh. So I can definitely so I'm assuming most of the audience of the pod is adult women with TS. And so
Yes.
I'll start I have a lot of different projects coming out right now, but I'll start with the couples workbook that I had that just came out this how many weeks ago is it? Maybe a couple weeks ago? It's called Butterfly Kisses, and it's a couples workbook that's designed for couples where one partner has Turners and the other does not. And so, um, I guess an overview of some of the topics that it covers is it talks a lot about it in the beginning of the book, it goes through working through way back, kind of like we've been talking about, going back through, okay, from when you were diagnosed on the little ways that Turner's has impacted you, right?
Mhm.
It talks about how body image difficulties might come up in romantic relationships, right?
Yeah.
And it talks about another thing it talks about is infertility, and talks about how to navigate that conversation as a couple, and I'm trying to and then some other it talks about physical intimacy, it talks about there's so many and then there's a bonus section for the non-Turner's partner where it talks about it gives them a space to work through any feelings that they're having towards the end of the workbook, right? And it's a space where teaches them about some things that we as Turner's women might experience, right? Like infantilization, for
Yeah.
example. And it explains to the non-TS partner how to best approach certain conversations with us as TS women, right? And so that's kind of what I would say is and an important part is it talks about communication styles and patterns, how we as Turner's women, we tend to with the non-NVLD, nonverbal learning, we, of course, communicate more verbally, right? And where some of those nonverbal cues might go to the wayside, so it talks a lot about how to meet in the middle as a couple, which is exciting, which
That's
so that's
amazing.
the overview, so that is specifically designed for couples, but I'm also coming out with a dating course for single Turner's women. That
Oh,
should be
awesome.
hopefully late August, early September, so stay tuned to that
Ooh.
for
Yeah.
that, but
We can
yes.
keep everybody updated on
Mhm.
information for it.
Yes, absolutely, but
That's awesome.
yes, thank you so much, but to go back to the question, right, of, okay, like, when do we disclose?
Yeah.
I first off, what I find is, right, every woman with TS, you're gonna be the expert of your own experience in this regard, right? A lot of women will say so I've heard some women say, "Oh, like, the first date," and for me, like, I feel like for me, I found my comfortability in it is, okay, we've been on a couple dates, we're going to be it looks like we're going to be official at some point, like,
Yeah.
some pretty in the very near future, right? Like, to me and I would say maybe this to me, this is what I find to be the most kind of middle ground, right? Of, okay, we're about to be official any day now, and they've gotten to know you. They've had a pretty considerable amount of time to get to know you, right? And but I feel like, okay, if you're already in an official partnership, right? I feel like we were talking about, oh, when is it too late? To me, it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I would see that as maybe doing that partner a little dirty if it's something you save until, like after, like, oh, we're in an official partnership now. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that kind of answers that. But at the end of the day, everyone's gonna have I'm finding that a lot of TS women feel like sooner rather than later is what's helpful, but I think the goal is when it feels most organic, right? Or when it
Yeah.
feels yeah, and at the
When
end
it feels more natural, not
Mhm.
forced.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
Yeah.
honestly, I probably, well, not probably, I could have absolutely told my husband earlier.
Yeah.
It wasn't super far into it. We were already together. I mean, we got together pretty quickly after starting to
Mhm.
talk. So there wasn't a whole lot of building up time
Right.
before we were like kind of official, and so it
Yeah.
was like 2 months
Mhm.
into that
Exactly.
that I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I probably need to
Yeah.
give you more detail on this. And it feels so
Yeah.
heavy to do that because it's being
Yeah.
very vulnerable. So
Yeah.
there's definitely
It's
parts on your side you're thinking about of like, I'm really nervous to disclose this, but also
yeah.
it deeply impacts this other person. So it's not fair for me to keep this to myself.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, yes. Brooke, and to your point, I had told my ex-boyfriend on a similar timeline, right? Like, I was, like, maybe a month or 2 in to
Mhm.
dating. I knew it was looking like we were going to be more serious pretty soon, and so but right. Like, I would say a lot of TS women were coming from this place of, "Oh, this is a vulnerable conversation, so,
Yeah.
like, I want to nip it in the bud," which is fair, and that's coming from a place of self-protection, right? And, now that we're talking about it, I wonder if kind of when it comes to a romantic partner, if really I wonder if it comes more to, like, setting the tone for that conversation, right? Or making that conversation occur in a place that's gonna feel most safe for you emotionally, right? Like, for example, maybe not over text, right? Like, or like maybe in an environment where you feel safe or you feel like you have the floor, if that makes sense, you know? So
Yeah.
maybe those are even more important factors to consider too when yeah,
Yeah, well, and I think your level of comfortability with the person matters too. Like,
definitely.
I think by the time I told my husband, we had kind of already like
Mhm.
had so basically the whole rest of our lives kind of
Yeah.
explained to each other. We had talked so much and shared so much that I think that's why it started feeling like that. It almost got to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to do this because it's feeling awkward for me that he doesn't know it.
Mhm.
Like, it just feels wrong that he like, for me, it feels
Yeah,
weird that he doesn't know it because he knows me so well,
yeah,
and
and
so it
yeah,
kind of just got to that point, and I was like, "Okay, I can't let it go any
yeah,
farther."
yeah. Oh my gosh, I definitely think it's a middle ground of giving yourself that layer of protection to first let yourself fig kind of feel out, "Oh, is this someone that would be safe to give this information to," right? And
Yeah,
that's gonna be such a case by case, individual by individual thing of yeah, like, at what when that time is going to line up, if that makes sense,
yeah,
and
and even just answering that question for yourself can probably
mhm.
tell you a lot about how you're feeling in that relationship.
Right. Like, if it's something you don't feel comfortable telling them, like, yeah, maybe and depending on how long you've been
Yeah,
seeing that person, maybe that's grounds to reevaluate that relationship or ask yourself, "What kinds of questions am I needing cleared up about this person?" Right?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then, I mean, I think the biggest thing definitely the understanding Turner syndrome in general and, like,
Yeah.
trying to explain to them who likely have never even heard of Turner syndrome before,
Exactly,
what it even
exactly.
is.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you bring that up too, because I think it's important because this is something we've had years and years of growing to understand, right? So I think it's so important for us to keep into perspective when we're telling this to a new partner. This is something they've probably never heard of before, right? So I
Yeah,
think it's so, and we say it all the time where sometimes as TS women, what we need is a little bit of time. And so I think this is such a good example of a scenario where that other person might need some time, a little
yeah.
bit of time. And
And maybe take their reactions with a grain of salt as far as their
yeah,
initial reaction. Because just like it was a lot for me to process, it's a lot for them to process too.
mhm, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so there's that whole thing. And then there's the, I think for me, the hardest part
Mhm,
was, oh gosh, not only do I have to tell him this, but I have to say, like, I basically have to give the sentiment, I don't know if I can give you kids. And
mhm,
likely I can't.
yeah,
Or you're stepping into a very expensive, difficult scenario for that.
yeah, yeah,
And that's hard. That's, oh gosh, the emotional roller coaster that takes you through
absolutely.
is really hard, and pushing past that to be like, I still need to explain this and navigating the emotions of that conversation. That's why I feel like the workbook is so great because it gives you points to
Thank you.
help guide the conversation
Yeah.
and kind of
Oh,
somewhere for each person to be like, okay, I'm going to write down how I feel and that'll help us talk
yes.
about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, and thank you so much for saying that. In the workbook, there's sections for each partner to complete on their own, where they each at the end of each chapter, they have their own space to process how they're feeling after each topic, right? And then there's also the activities that they do together. And so, oh, and it's so heavy, it's so personal, and it's so vulnerable. And sometimes what can help is to think of it at the end of the day as a lot of even non-TS women too, the reality is they s there's sorts of different factors that can lead to infertility, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes it can be helpful to think of it as, "Man, like, we have this information just ahead of time," right?
Yeah.
And which can be a double-edged sword, and it can be so scary of, "Oh my gosh, what if a guy reacts negatively
Badly. Yeah.
to this information?" And yeah, I love what I said too, like echoing, like, right, take their first reaction with a grain of salt, but then
Yeah.
also if they if they have a negative reaction, then that's not your guy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I've had a couple of comments before where a a girl has said, "Well, but what if he has a bad reaction?" And I'm like, "Well, then he wasn't the one for you
yeah.
anyways."
Oh my gosh, what's so wild to me about men like that is is you may end up with someone who just you find
Has
them
infertility in another
on
way.
that or, like, on the like,
Yeah.
after everything is said and done that there's infertility, you could be the one as the man to have
Yeah, that's
infertility,
true.
right?
It was
So
funny
yeah.
when we were doing testing, I was all focused on my side, and the doctor was
Mm,
like,
mhm.
"Well, we would have to do some testing on his side too." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah.
Right, exactly.
I'm
Like,
assuming I'm the problem, but like we don't know
there's
what's
so
happening on
much
either
yeah. Oh my gosh,
side."
there's so many layers to that, but, like,
But in my head,
oh,
I'm just like, "I'm the problem. It's on
no.
my side."
Yeah,
And that doesn't mean that there's not stuff on the other side as well.
totally. Oh my gosh, that's such an important side of the conversation that I feel like
Yeah.
gets left out historically, right? And, like, oh, and oh my gosh, a g a guy that's going to be equipped to step into a relationship with a woman with Turners, they're gonna be the type of guy that's gonna be able
Yeah.
to look at it holistically like that and
Yeah.
to have all of those people in their head in this conversation, you know? But, oh, that was definitely my heart with this big part of the workbook of because nothing like this exists, like, for these
No.
to help couples with these conversations, right?
And I see
And
people asking for advice with this all the
yeah,
time of like,
right.
how do I tell this person? I'm nervous about telling them. When do I tell them? How much am I
Yeah,
obligated to tell them? It's a big thing to
it
navigate.
is. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I was so nervous and then I
Mhm.
always tell people like one, if it's going to be a bad reaction, you want to know that now anyways.
Yeah,
You don't want
yeah.
to you don't want to let your heart get any deeper into this if that's the way it's going and it's just not going to work out anyways.
Mhm.
But also at least for me, I build it so much bigger in my head the more I let
Oh,
myself anticipate.
yep.
Where I'm like, I'm making this massive conversation, and then it was a conversation that didn't only happen once. We've had several conversations about all the different parts of it. And
Mhm.
his response immediately was, well, I mean, to the infertility part specifically, he was like, well, we could always adopt. And I'm like, not, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better response.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Immediately going to, we have other options. It's not the end of the world. We'll navigate it if that's the case. It was, I mean, yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better response.
Gosh.
But I was so
Yeah.
anxious in my head.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, when you think about those layered responses too, like, if that being the initial point blank response, you really can't. Absolutely.
Before we move on to your other project, is there anything we want to add about the workbook? I think it's
Ooh,
amazing that it is
oh my gosh, you guys are
just
so
helping
Mhm.
sweet.
navigate the conversation.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I would say, oh, anything. Oh, I think I'll say this. Um, for any gals that do end up getting the workbook, what I will say is while there are some universal experiences within TS, if there's any parts of it that maybe you feel like don't apply to you as or heavily, or if you feel like um it's maybe not completely 100% what you've experienced, if that makes sense, I would say like to maybe take those pieces with an open mind or a grain of salt. Maybe it's something you in your own experience that you hadn't thought of from that angle before, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so I will say that, and just my hope is just that it provides a little bit of a roadmap or a literal roadmap for those tougher conversations and just kind of an extra hand those through those tough points, and a place where you and your partner can be heard and feel like you're supported and comforted through those tough conversations. And so, yeah, that's my heart behind it. So I just hope you guys enjoy. Please let me know any feedback. If there's anything I need to go back to the drawing board on or anything, just let me know. It's self-published. So
I
with
love
that being
it.
said, it's been my own eyes looking over it. So if there's any, I'd love to hear any feedback as
Yeah.
well. So um, yeah, let me know. That's kind of the gist of the workbook, and stay tuned for the dating course. It's gonna be where I'm gonna record some pre-recorded videos of myself talking about different topics of dating, like what it's gonna be very TS specific, right? Like a big one, when do you disclose?
Yeah.
When it's gonna be about anxieties that can come up with it. It can be about unpacking past trauma or past hurts that are TS specific when it comes to dating, right? Body image from the lens of dating, not necessarily from the lens of when you're already in that romantic partnership, right? So that's gonna be kind of the gist with
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. So that sounds like it would pair fairly well with the workbook.
yes, where the workbook is when you're in that couple stage, and
Mhm.
then like yes, the course that will be when you're in that yes, it will pair really nicely, absolutely. But
So,
yes,
and you said that'll be out end of August? So
hopefully
end of
end
this
of
month?
August, early September.
Okay.
So, yes, stay tuned for that,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yes. Oh,
That's I think this is a topic that doesn't get touched on very
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah, which it
And
definitely
I mean, I've been out of the dating scene a while. I've been married for this year, it'll be 12 years.
Wow.
So,
Woo!
I never dealt with the apps.
Oh gosh.
I never
That is
dealt with the apps. I
I've
don't
heard
know if
some
either of you have, but I'm
oh,
very
yeah.
glad I never did.
Unfortunately.
I have dealt with a few of the apps, and it is not, well, I know it has helped some of my friends and some people that I know. Um, it has not been an experience that has been great for me.
Mm.
So I've kind of almost like put those to the side. I'm like, I don't know that I want to do those.
Uh,
So
yeah. I I've heard of some TS girls telling potential dates about their diagnoses in the apps, and
Ooh,
I'm I'm like, I'm not I support it if it's what you feel like. I see that being like, yes, I'm wanting to self-preserve, right? Self-protect, right?
yeah,
And right, if that's yeah, what's going to be what helps you to feel that sense of protection. I support it. Just again, I think being wary of, oh my gosh, I haven't met this person yet. Like I don't
yeah.
know. Like
Well, and
how
I almost go more to they have no context for what Turner syndrome
Mhm.
is if all you put is I have Turner syndrome though.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
and letting them run to Google is not a good thing.
Oh, I've had my ex-boyfriend running to Google like, "It says here you still can get pregnant," and I'm like, "What an idiot. I wouldn't beat around the bush about this kind of thing,
Oh
okay?"
my
Like,
goodness.
just very yeah. Like
Yeah, no, I say Google with a grain of salt too. So I don't know if
yeah.
I would I mean, I completely understand wanting to be transparent and like
Oh,
let's
yeah.
have this right out the gate. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I think there's a way to do that where you can give a better understanding and context so
Mhm.
that they don't just get kind of confused.
Right, it is gonna be better coming from I'm such a yeah, big things like this again, I'm just gonna be such a big believer in it's always gonna be better
Face to
coming from
face
yourself.
conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
and ooh, another thing I'll say about the apps is I could see the TS girlies doing well with that high capacity for verbal communication, that high
Yes.
capacity for written word, right? I could see that being a good segue for a lot of us in the community if,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
And
when you
it's a
think about, like
very, I mean, it's a very
Mhm.
non-intimidating way to be verbally expressive and kind of control for yourself
Yeah,
the level of exposure,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
especially
absolutely.
if it's something that you're kind of
Yes.
already feeling kind of self-conscious of like this makes me feel nervous.
Yeah. Oh my
So
gosh.
in my experience with using the dating apps, so I have not really put on my profiles anything about having Turner syndrome.
Mhm,
Even in my initial conversations with a guy, when I've talked to them, I don't really bring up Turner syndrome. I do mention because one of the things that is a dilemma is um, being 4'7".
mm,
I'm very obviously short. I stand out. I can't avoid it.
mhm,
So I don't want to feel like somebody that I'm talking to has this picture of I'm like average height,
mhm,
and then I meet them in person and they're already just kind of thrown off because
yeah,
they're expecting somebody regular height and
yeah,
there's me.
Yeah, that's hard.
yeah,
And
And
that can't
so
really be something you convey over the app.
mhm,
I don't really address that, oh hey, I have Turner syndrome, but I will be like, I will talk about being short
yeah,
and let them know like, hey, I'm short.
yeah,
Um and just try and communicate that don't expect me to be tall.
oh my gosh,
um
yeah,
and because I just started a conversation with somebody, I don't want to disclose everything. um but I do want to be
yeah,
honest about that because I'm like, especially if I feel like the conversation's moving to a point where okay, we're gonna meet in person,
mhm,
and I want them to know that yeah, I'm short. So
mhm,
um that's a challenge. That's
yeah,
been a challenge for me. And I feel like I struggle with the fact that, and this could be my perception, but I feel like that can be an issue and expectations. And so it has made dating kind of very difficult and meeting somebody very difficult because um I don't know. I just have not, especially in this area, gotten to meet guys that I feel would be as open and understanding. And I think they
mhm,
just kind of block off of the fact that, I'm short. And so I very rarely um,
mhm,
disclose anything beyond that.
yeah,
Um until or if, I start like serious. And I've dated guys in the past, but recently in my adult life, I have not, just because it's been very difficult. And I tried, tried on the apps and just, I'm like,
That yeah.
you know, so,
Mhm.
but the dating situation in Kansas City, the dating scenario in Kansas City is not good. So,
Nashville.
there's that.
Oh my gosh.
There's that.
I oh my gosh. I'm that's such a fair struggle with height. And I've noticed there's a totally flip side struggle that's out there too of average height women saying, "Oh, I need a guy that's 6 feet," and the guy
Yeah.
and the guys saying, "Oh my gosh, well, what am I gonna do? I'm like a shorter guy," and so to that,
Yeah.
I'm like, we are at a unique advantage. Like, I for one
That's
love a
true.
short. I love a short king, and so and to that I say, like, there's a market out there where those are maybe men right now that are getting a little overlooked, right? And so I
Yeah.
wonder
That's
if there's
true.
like there's room to look at that too, ironically, as like a okay, like there's a unique market here
Yeah.
that works for me, like being a shorter gal, and so that
Yeah.
that's like an observation I've had recently of I feel like I hear that all the
And
time from
there's something to be said for there not being a massive height difference. I have this scenario with my husband where he's 6 foot and I'm 4'11".
love that for you. Oh my gosh.
I love it. I love it. It is attractive to me.
I love that.
At the same time, it means there is that height difference to
Mhm.
contend with for things like at our wedding, him not
Mm.
having to break his back leaning over to kiss me.
Oh my gosh.
Things like that. That while I
You
love
know
it and do find it super attractive,
yeah.
there is the difference of the height where it's such a
Mm.
difference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so I love hearing, like, all the everyone's different perspectives on it too, right? Like, I'm 5'2", and I love the idea of being, like, with a guy who's, like, between 5'7" and 5'10", because 'cause I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh," like, the I'm like and then I'm like, when it's someone who's, like, 6 feet, I'm like, "I can't reach." But I love but it's like, to your point, I love that you use the word attraction, right? Like, to
Oh, yeah.
yeah, for you like, you're like, "That's something I'm attracted to," and, like, that's like, a lot of times it can come down to attraction, and
Yeah.
yeah, and, like, vice versa too, like, there's gonna be guys that are gonna find attraction in
A shorter
someone
girl.
shorter,
Mhm.
absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
and so, yeah, these are all but I get like, not to discount that, like, yeah, it does make it harder when it feels like you're maybe
Yeah.
yeah, on the drastic side of things, absolutely.
Well, and when you're shorter, like you talked about talking about infantilizing,
Yeah,
when you're
exactly.
shorter, it can feel like there's an automatic thought of you're a little kid, like
Mhm.
getting
Yeah,
treated like it or overlooked because of how short you are.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think I think that can be a lot of
mhm.
my biggest thing with being short is like it makes people think they don't have to take me seriously or that I don't know what I'm talking about or something. And I'm like, no, check. Do you want to see my gray hair? Check my experience. I can speak to this. Like, don't
Right,
don't get
yes.
it twisted.
Oh, yeah, oh my
I'm
gosh,
small but mighty.
yeah, absolutely, and, there
And
there's
that's
so
what I like
many
to say too. I'm small, but I
yes,
carry a third-degree black belt, so
Yes, which I love.
oh, yeah, like, don't get it twisted.
right, right.
Seriously. Oh my gosh, there's such a layer too of why the reason why I talk about infantilization connected to Turner's too is with sort of those executive functioning difficulties, sometimes it can look like, oh, like, does she know where she's going? Like, which
Yeah.
yes, we do. And
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of it can look like, did you do X, Y? If it seems like our head is over here when at at the end of the day, it's like we've got it. And sometimes
Yeah.
people don't recognize that because of like things like right, like short stature, those exact right. Like maybe if we look younger, right?
Yeah.
Or um that general, like, optimism that we can carry a lot, right, can almost be seen as childlike, and those are all things that can lead to infantilization, which can be a deep trigger, I feel like, for a lot of us. I know I'm speaking for myself when I say that, like, it drives me crazy when people think I need people to hold things for me, right? I'm like, "I've
Yeah.
got it," or, like,
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. Like it's
And so
nice, but I
yeah.
it's a nice to have, not a need to have. I could figure this out myself if I needed to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that you said that too, because then I think on our end too, sometimes it can be helpful to think through like, right, these people, like the people in your life aren't out to get you because they're trying to help, like,
Yeah.
or like where they're coming from. Even though
Yeah.
like it's frustrating though when it's feels distant or like if it feels like a barrier, you know? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, absolutely. And that can absolutely show up in dating, especially. Yeah. I love
Yeah, because if the guy's seeing you short, needing help with different things, it's like, okay, well,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, are they going to be on edge kind of waiting for you to need help? Are they going to kind of jump in more because they think you do?
Mhm.
And how are you going to feel about that?
Right.
So maybe a conversation about like what you do feel like you need help with.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's hard to predict, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something the workbook talks about too, is like it kind of lays out, okay, where are the things where it's like, I feel like I do not need like if you do
yeah,
ask me for help with this thing, I'm gonna be upset about it. Or
yeah,
yeah, whatever it might be, you know. But uh, and so no, that's such a layered topic. And
yeah.
so yeah, I wonder like too, Andrea, but there have been any areas where like you feel like you've experienced kind of that infantilization, maybe that yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I have, to a degree, and
Mhm,
part of my struggle is too I am very independent,
mhm,
and so I, on my end, try and, um, allow room to, or at least the last guy I dated, I'm, like, trying to allow room for this guy to come into my life and, lean on him a little bit, but I'm also very stubborn. And it kind of, there are certain things that I don't mind, like, hey, let me help, you know, or I appreciate the let me do this and not even needing to ask. Like, hey, let me do this. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you for taking that off of me. But there are certain things that kind of encroach on what I feel like my sense of independence is.
yes.
And I will get defensive very quickly. And um I then get into the I'll kind of start pushing him away a little bit.
Mhm,
Because I'm like, I need to still be able to feel like I can be me and do the things because I feel like I've had to do them and I'm like, I have my I have my system. I am used to, doing things,
yeah,
um, and uh when I feel like, and it's not always like, I mean, it's not any bad intention, but it does, and it's not even in dating, it's in friendships or even with my family too, even with my parents at times, you know, where in other relationships, if, you know, I get that sense of like my independence is being stepped on,
Mhm.
mhm,
I get very, very defensive.
yeah.
Even my mom has done that sometime, and I'm like, "You're the one that raised me to be independent." So, like, you're having an argument with me about my attitude, and you're responsible for it, mom. Um, eh, you wanted me to be independent, and you did your job, and now here we are. So, I come by it honestly. Thank you very much. Um, but yes, it is definitely translated into my dating life, and so yeah.
Yeah. I think, oh my gosh, for all of us with this kind of struggle, I think it can be important to kind of go through that kind of list in our head of, oh my gosh, what are the things that make me feel like my independence is being like stepped on? And what are the things
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, that's honestly like nice. And maybe some of those things are on maybe sides that they shouldn't be on, or vice versa, right? And so, oh,
Yeah, and a lot of this is, I mean, stuff that you can only work through within that relationship with people, so it's not like something you can really, I mean,
yeah.
I guess the more experience you get with it, the more tools you get to navigate it,
Hmm.
but it's still something that each person's going to be different. Each
Yeah.
relationship for each person is going to be different, and so
Yeah.
there's only so much of it you can really work through ahead of time.
And, I think the workbook and, um, the guide that you're doing, I think it's helpful because, you know, that is something that then because, like, he's not gonna understand sort of, my experience fully having Turner syndrome, and without me helping to explain it a little bit about my experience, and then, mm, you know, it's not your fault, but this is why I react the way that I do, or this is
Mhm.
why I'm feeling like
Mhm.
that's coming against my sense of independence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, trying to help understand some of those nuances and experiences
Mhm.
and dealing with having TS and understanding like this is
Yeah.
where that's coming from.
1000%.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'd love to tell you guys about the children's books that I
Yes,
wrote as
Yes.
well.
please
Oh my gosh.
do.
Oh, okay. So it's all about this little butterfly named Mari. And the first one is called Mari's Way to Fly, where it talks about the overall general day-to-day experience of having TS, right? And then circling back to where we were talking about that needle phobia, anxiety around growth hormone,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I wrote one to help the little butterflies process through that from like it from a therapeutic place, right? Where it's called Mari and the Brave Butterfly Medicine. And then
Oh,
the third one that I wrote is called Mari Goes to Butterfly School, where it talks about maybe some common experience TS gals might have at school. And it talks a lot about the different helpers that might come into play or the areas that might be easy, might be hard, and how to work through the parts that are hard and
I love
all of
that.
that good stuff. And so, yeah, and then the next one coming out is gonna be about like growth hormone or not growth hormone. Sorry, my gosh, my brain is glitching. Estrogen.
Oh,
And
yeah.
growing up, and so I'm excited about that one too. We just
That's
knocked those 3
awesome.
out. I'm, like, taking a pause, but that one's coming soon too in the fall, so I'm excited about that as well.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So
Yes.
we can link all of that in the episode description. So anybody that wants to look at the books, at the workbook,
Yes.
and stay tuned for in future episodes, we can share the links to the new ones coming out and the course.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Also, I guess a quick plug, I'm also offering mental health consults, and
Oh,
to
that's
clarify what
awesome.
that is, it's not to be confused with regular therapy, right? It's not gonna include diagnosis, a treatment plan, meeting as frequently, right? But it's just think of it as like a one-on-one consultation. It can be for anyone from a couple where one person has TS, the other doesn't, right? It can be
Mm,
for parents with of a kiddo that just got diagnosed. It can be someone's soccer coach of a TS butterfly, or it can be the idea being anyone that's wanting any kind of mental health support surrounding Turner's, that is what that service is all about, and
That's
so that
awesome.
would be either, like, a 60-minute meeting with me, a 30-minute meeting with me, if anyone is feeling like that's something that would be helpful for them or something that would just help provide any sort of comfort, guidance, that's gonna be on my little link tree too, and so,
That's awesome.
yes, that's a little bit about all the little things I'm doing right now, so,
Very cool.
yes.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that
these are
that's
all great.
very needed. So that is really exciting. I think that is a big space where I think there could be or there's a lot more support that's needed
Mhm,
is mental health because I don't know that at least in my experience since my diagnosis growing up, like there just was not a lot of like support as far as for mental health, and
mhm,
especially from someone that has Turner syndrome and kind
Yeah,
of lives that experience too. I think that that really is beneficial because um one of the reasons why I started being more vocal and public about having TS is
mhm,
because of that one reason. There's other reasons, but that being one of them. Um, and just I talked to a fair number of girls that struggle with confidence and self-worth and self-esteem
yeah,
and just other different things and struggling in mental health. And I am someone that has also struggled with mental health.
mhm,
And we all, I think, at times could, benefit from support. So,
yes.
I think that that's great that you're doing that and in building that space for more mental health.
mhm.
Um, because yeah, I think that that's definitely needed.
Yeah,
Thank you
So
guys so much. Yeah,
yeah,
my mom and I were talking about it at this last conference where we were like, it feels like it was so much more medical based like 20 years ago, and yeah, like we're definitely, yeah, trying to trailblaze when it comes to the mental health needs
yeah,
that are there, especially for the adult TS women out there, absolutely, and yeah, that for the littles as well, and so, yeah,
yeah.
again, I
mhm.
appreciate, yeah, this platform so much, and, uh, it's just been so good
Yeah,
to
I'm so glad we got to talk about all of this. Um,
Yes,
I feel like these are things that like this is exactly why we do this because these are conversations that need to happen.
oh my
And
gosh, and
you don't know they need to happen until you hear it and somebody goes,
mhm,
"Oh, yeah, I have been trying to figure that out." And there's been
mhm,
so much of that where it's just these conversations aren't happening and so
mhm.
that's why I feel like it's really important for all the different aspects of this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you
Mm.
guys are trailblazing in that area too of like making area like space for these conversations. So that's, oh my gosh, such a huge need for sure as well. So ah like it's so cool to see like these cool things are happening in
Yeah.
the TS community, which is awesome. So again, so cool to see. So
Yeah,
uh
there's been a lot more stuff like that happening and I'm
yes.
very excited to see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep, me too. Yeah.
So, thank you so
But
much, Claire.
yes, thank
Andrew,
you,
do you have
Claire.
any other questions or anything?
I think so. Yes, everyone, you should be able to get the links to all the things after.
So definitely keep us updated on your releases and stuff like that for your books and
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
And if
yes.
people want to connect to be able to get some time to schedule a mental health
Yes.
appointment with you, how to do that and all of that.
Yes. Oh
Yes.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
I I will definitely send you guys copies of the workbook to say thank
yes,
you.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah, thank
gosh.
you. I would love to.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
maybe we'll have to have you on again to talk about mental health more.
I would love
yes.
to. Oh my gosh, it does not stop here. Don't be a stranger. Oh
I
my
yeah, I
gosh.
I could talk about that for
Oh,
hours. I feel like me and Andrea both could.
oh
So
yeah.
we
Yeah.
definitely
Well,
would be interested in that.
There's so much.
my degree is in psychology, so
So is mine.
yeah, yeah. So
Hey!
we're all
We're psychology people.
And I'm a
So
yes,
speaker. Oh
yes,
my gosh. Yes. I would love to. There's so much more to talk about. Yes.
yes.
yes,
This is
Yes.
just the beginning. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. That
Yes,
sounds awesome.
but
but it's been so great having you on the podcast.
Yes.
it's
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
been a pleasure. It's been a joy. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, it's been so great talking, and I'm so excited we get to share it with everybody. So, everybody, find the links in the episode description, reach out to Claire, and yeah, I want the children's books for me.
Yes, available on
yeah.
Amazon.
So, yes. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you again, Claire and Andrea.
Yes,
Hey guys.
Always awesome. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys in our next episode. Thank you so
it's been
much.
great. Yep,
Bye.
we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. The Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast is a Butterfly Entertainment production. You can keep up with the Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast on Instagram at Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast. You can keep up with all of Butterfly Entertainment's podcasts, YouTube videos, films, and other projects on our Instagram page. We are at Butterfly Entertainment Group. Thanks for listening.